Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is famous for bears, is famous for magnificent geysers, but underneath your feet is a supervolcano.
Deep beneath Yellowstone lies one of Earth's most powerful forces, a supervolcano capable of unimaginable destruction. Recent activity has left scientists alarmed, sparking questions about what could come next. From unusual seismic patterns to mysterious ground swelling, experts say something unprecedented may be brewing. Some believe these signs echo ancient prophecies, including warnings tied to Jesus himself. Could Yellowstone be on the verge of unleashing a disaster beyond human comprehension? Are we ready for what's coming? Join us as we uncover the shocking truth behind these events. Yellowstone eruptions, one for the ages. Barely a month goes by these days without the Yellowstone supervolcano hitting the headlines somewhere or other.
Newly installed cameras capturing an eruption from the Black Diamond Pool at Yellowstone National Park on Saturday.
And this recent happenings one is no exception. It might be a swarm of earth tremors or a minor steam-driven explosion that sets the hearts of news editors and disaster preppers racing. Or, on occasions like this, a new piece of discovery that sheds light on prospects for the next big bang. Sometimes it can seem as if the entire world is waiting for Yellowstone to blow, in a sense, almost willing it. Now the question is, what has just happened in Yellowstone that shook scientists, and do they bring good news or bad? But before we dig deeper, let's take a look at historical eruptions of Yellowstone. Brace up, because what will be revealed next will put you at the edge of your seat. Volcanic activity began in the Yellowstone National Park region a little before about 2 million years ago. Molten magma, rising from deep within the earth, produced 3 cataclysmic eruptions more powerful than any in the world's recorded history. The first caldera-forming eruption occurred about 2.1 million years ago. The eruptive blast reportedly removed so much magma from its subsurface storage reservoir that the ground above it collapsed into the magma chamber and left a gigantic depression in the ground, a hole larger than the state of Rhode Island. The huge crater, known as a caldera, measured as much as 80 kilometers long, 65 kilometers wide, and hundreds of meters deep, extending from outside of Yellowstone National Park into the central area of the park. Later, activity shifted to a smaller region within the Island Park area of eastern Idaho, just southwest of Yellowstone National Park, and produced another large caldera-forming eruption 1.3 million years ago. Subsequent activity has been focused within the area of the national park, and another huge eruption 631 years ago formed the Yellowstone caldera as we now see it. The 3 caldera-forming eruptions, respectively, were about 6,000, 700, and 2,500 times larger than the May 18, 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens in Washington state. Together, the 3 catastrophic eruptions expelled enough ash and lava to fill the Grand Canyon. In addition to the 3 climactic eruptions, activity associated with each of the 3 caldera cycles produced dozens or even hundreds of smaller eruptions that produced both lava and pyroclastic materials. And now, recent happenings at Yellowstone have reportedly taken scientists by surprise, setting the stage for possible future events, with some reportedly seeing it as part of what Jesus had warned about in the Holy Book. But what exactly just happened in Yellowstone, and why are experts closely monitoring Yellowstone now? Brace up. This is just the beginning of what is about to be revealed. Why scientists are alarmed. In January 2025, researchers from the United States Geological Survey revealed a new discovery, which is exactly what's currently going on underneath Yellowstone. By measuring and mapping the electrical conductivity of the rocks, they were able to paint a 3-dimensional picture of how much magma there is and where it's located. This is because molten rock can be up to 1,000 times more conductive than its solid equivalent, so is pretty easy to pick out. The bad news is that there is one hell of a lot of magma down there, and the good news is that it's not all in one place, nor is it filling some great subterranean void. Most of the magma, in fact, is reportedly contained in pockets, each making up 2 to 30% by volume of the hot, solid rock within which they are contained. The areas of magma-hosting rock are believed not to be all joined up, so even if the volcano did blow, it wouldn't all come out in one go. But here's the most interesting revelation. Further scientific study shows where the next volcanic action might be centered. A study published in GSA Today, the monthly news and science magazine of the Geological Society of America, identified 3 fault zones where future eruptions are most likely to be centered. 2 of those areas are reportedly associated with lava flows aged 174,000 to 70,000 years ago, and the third is a focus of present-day seismicity. But the probability is said to still be in doubt, as it turns out that the magma is not evenly distributed. Most of it is believed to be concentrated under the northeast of the Yellowstone caldera, the huge crater left by the last super eruption 130,000 years ago. Somewhere between 400 and 500 cubic kilometers of sticky, silica-rich rhyolite magma is reportedly squatting there, which is significantly more than the volume of magma that erupted in Yellowstone's huge Mesa Falls blast around 1.3 million years ago. But that's not all. Hot basalt magma, rising from the mantle below, is reportedly pumping more and more heat into this part of the volcano, keeping the rhyolite magma hot and, over time, ramping up the total volume of molten rock. This may sound disconcerting, to say the least, but a critical look into this revelation shows that the magma is spread around. Reports also have it that all these pockets of molten rock would need to connect up and pool together before there is sufficient volume to come out in one hefty eruption. Nevertheless, several scientific reports have hypothesized that this part of the volcano will be the most likely place for the next big outburst. But the big question is, when? While the answer of when it could happen remains inconclusive, there have also been talks of the possibility of a super eruption happening. But the general belief is that a super eruption isn't overdue. There is also a great deal of talk about the next Yellowstone super eruption being due. But this, as the latest research also bears out, simply isn't the case. Alongside the aforementioned Mesa Falls eruption, there have been 2 other much bigger blasts: the Huckleberry Ridge eruption a little over 2 million years ago, and the 630,000-year-old Lava Creek outburst. The average return period of the 3 eruptions is believed to be 735,000 years. So notwithstanding the lack of any statistical rigor given such a small sample size, there's no reason to think that another super eruption is in any way imminent. It's also worth observing that the Mesa Falls eruption, while massive, wasn't deserving enough to be awarded the epithet super, as the volume of its deposits fell below the 1,000 cubic kilometers threshold required. Consequently, the return period between the 2 really big ones is nearer 1.5 million years. The reality, then, is that the next Yellowstone super eruption could be a very long time coming. But it will come. And when it does, its impact on the United States and the entire planet will be immense. These latest revelations about Yellowstone have prompted questions from different quarters and individuals about what possibly could be impending signs to watch out for. Some have even related it to the signs of the end time that Jesus talked about in the Bible. Now the question is, what are these signs that have been mentioned by scientists to watch out for? And are they anything to worry about? To get some idea of what a future Yellowstone super eruption might look like, we need to look back in time at those earlier explosions, which have many features in common. Stick around, as the most interesting part of this revelation is coming up. Warning signs of future eruptions and dangers. In case you're asking about what happened when Yellowstone erupted years ago, here it is. Reports have revealed that all involved a detonation so great that the erupted magma was torn apart, creating colossal quantities of ash. In addition, each eruption was followed by the collapse of the crust above the emptied magma reservoir, leading to the formation of a giant caldera. From 2004 to 2009, the region experienced notable uplift attributed to new magma injection. The 2005 disaster film Supervolcano, produced by the BBC and the Discovery Channel, increased public attention on the potential for a future catastrophic eruption. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory monitors volcanic activity and does not consider an eruption imminent. Imaging of the magma reservoir indicates a substantial volume of partial melt beneath Yellowstone that is not currently eruptible. The current 60-kilometer-wide Yellowstone caldera was reportedly formed during the most recent Lava Creek eruption. While each super-eruption marked the climax of an eruption cycle that was terminated by collapse, this was both preceded and followed by volcanic activity on a smaller scale. This highlights an important point that doesn't get much airing in discussions about the Yellowstone threat, and that is that there have been plenty of smaller eruptions between the three biggest, and many of these have not been explosive. In fact, the last eruption at Yellowstone involved the relatively quiet extrusion of lava around 70,000 years ago. Trying to look out for the warning signs, but let's zero in on the big ones, which, let's face it, is what everyone wants to know. What would we experience as Yellowstone girded itself for volcanic cataclysm and during the eruption itself? One thing we don't know too much about is how long the build-up to a big one takes and what the warning signs would be. Today, there are reported hot springs, bubbling mud pools, and swarms of earth tremors. Meanwhile, the land surface continually rises and falls as if a giant slumbers below, which, in a sense, it does. This might seem logical to expect a super eruption to be preceded by more of the same warning signs we see in smaller eruptions, just on a larger scale, possibly with growing unrest over decades or longer. However, research on past eruptions at another supervolcano, Mount Toba in Indonesia, suggests otherwise. The findings indicate that warning signs could be minimal, offering little to suggest that a world-changing eruption was on its way. This is believed to be very bad news for anyone living within 100 kilometers, which is approximately 60 miles of the Yellowstone volcano, because once all hell breaks loose, there will be little chance of escape. This isn't to say that a Yellowstone super eruption will explode onto the scene unannounced. Recent fieldwork by geologists has revealed that the 630,000-year-old Lava Creek event was preceded by two smaller-scale explosive eruptions, probably separated by years, maybe even decades. Reports suggest that when the volcano reawakens, we may well see the same thing again, smaller starter events heralding the main course. From a mitigation point of view, in such a case, the big problem reportedly lies in trying to predict which eruption, if any, will be super, something that will not actually become apparent until after the event, when the amount of disgorged material can be quantified. However, whether Yellowstone vomits out 500, 750, or 1,000 cubic kilometers of ash and debris is pretty immaterial. All would be cataclysmic and devastating for the country. This is what is believed to happen when the sky falls, and whenever it comes, the next Yellowstone super eruption will be impossible to miss. Regardless of whether you live close by or on the other side of the planet, its consequences are believed to be unavoidable. The eruption is likely to be focused, initially at least, at a single vent, breaking through where the swelling crust above the magma reservoir is weakest. As viscous rhyolite magma, packed with gas, and under enormous pressure breaks the surface, it tears itself apart, the initial detonation deafening anyone unfortunate enough to be in the vicinity. Blasting upwards faster than the speed of sound, a plume of ash and pumice, the low-density rock we use to abrade hard skin reaches the edge of space within minutes, spreading laterally to plunge everywhere below into pitch darkness. A torrent of hot ash and pumice will also reportedly fall across Yellowstone and the surrounding region, starting fires, heating the air, and making it almost impossible to breathe. But there is worse to come, much worse. As part of the eruption column collapses under its own weight, It will trigger fast-moving surges of hot ash, incandescent gas, and near-molten pumice fragments, known as pyroclastic flows that hurtle outwards in all directions. Interestingly, all these signs are believed not to be in isolation, as some are said to have been foretold by Jesus in the Bible, that there will be famines and earthquakes in various places, further establishing its now and future happenings. Yellowstone's activity reminds us how small we are compared to nature's power. Scientists continue to monitor every sign, but questions remain. Is this just a geological cycle, or a signal of something greater? Ancient warnings echo through time. Are we listening? Stay informed, stay prepared, and share your thoughts. Could this truly be the beginning of something big? Let's wait as things unfold. What do you think about what just happened in Yellowstone? Do share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the following video showing. Thank you.